Hey y'all, my name is Nat. I hope you're having a terrific day today, and for this video we are going to be doing a flip through of my 2022 reading journal so far. I say reading journal, but technically speaking this is more a mix between a reading journal, a bullet journal, and a personal journal. If you're new here, this layout is definitely different. Usually I do a plan with me instead of a walkthrough, but if you're interested to see me doing all of these spreads, I'll put a link to that video in the cards up above. So thus far, in terms of goals, I think I'm doing a really awesome job. I'm currently at 51 books read out of 100. I've been doing amazing at planning for future videos. Limiting TBRs, still not the best, but better. One big book a month is a goal I have not been doing well with. I think I'm currently at about 3 of 6. Attending live shows, also not fantastic if I'm being honest, but reading at least one comic book a month, I have stayed on top of this. So that's at least 3 out of 6. In terms of my favorites, you can see I've actually made a decision for once. However, I had initially put in a sequel for January, later changed my mind. To be fair, both of the books were 4.5, so I had a really hard time deciding which one was a favorite. I also had a hard time in March because I had Concrete Rose, but then I also had The Wolf and the Woodsman, and I loved that one just as much. No favorite for June yet, unfortunately. Next is my books read in 2022 bookshelf spread. I love this one. I decided to color in the books based on the rating, and then recently I actually started adding these little asterisks, and basically that means this book was on my owned TBR. Given that we're halfway through the year and I have filled up almost this entire first page, I think we're doing pretty awesome. Next is a spread that does not look pretty. It got added in last minute, but it's very easy to see. This is the number of books I hauled each month versus the number of books I read off of my owned TBR. Clearly, right now I am at -3 if you look at all these. So not great. That means I'm hauling more than I'm reading, but I am trying. I'm doing my best. After that is my series. This is a lot more series than when I initially wrote this in. However, I have completed 1, 2, 3, and then initially I was planning to read the second volume of Kingsman, but after the first one was simply a 3 stars, I ended up changing my mind, so that got canceled. Fingers crossed that while I'm on vacation, I will finish off the Modern Love series, hopefully the Charlie Davidson series, and maybe catch up on Well Met. However, I did just find out that this 4th book is going to be coming out in June, so that kind of puts a wrench in that plan. And then jumping into the monthly spreads, so obviously I had my January. As you can see, I did pretty well. I read more than was initially planned. I did unfortunately have 1 DNF. Total pages read is absolutely fantastic. I wish every month looked like this. A very well-filled favorite lines spread. Unfortunately, this is one that definitely goes up and down in terms of usage for me. And then it's been a minute since I've actually done a spread for a book. I guess to be fair, it's been a minute since I've done a 5x5 video, so that might be why. This is before I started officially labeling my little stats section, so my future ones look a little bit nicer than this, but it's okay. I'm not really going to go into specifics in terms of my actual journal portion because this is sort of a daily log as well as a to-do list, so don't need to read all of that, but you can see how it looks. Then I had my little board from Paige at the PM Readers TBR game, and I did actually get to do my book haul. I'll put a link to that video in the cards. Obviously, for February, my theme was tea, and I actually ended up really liking this one. I think I held pretty true to it. Also did a good job of completing my TBR. Total pages read is lower than the previous month, but all in all, this still looks pretty great. Shockingly, my brain dump was pretty underutilized. I love looking back at these, though. Some of them are so funny. For example, have you ever had the overwhelming urge to rip out your reproductive tract and use the fallopian tubes to choke the stupidity out of men? Because that's where I'm at. This line had me howling laughing in A Brush with Love. I'll put a link to my reading vlog for that in the cards. I cannot wait for the next book to come out. Again, a few more specific book spreads. This was for my Enemies to Lovers 5x5 video. This is where you can kind of see I started more trying to make my stats fit with the rest of the spread, so it looked a little nicer. I have a photo over here from my Polaroid camera. I think this was from the second round of Snowmageddon this year. Wasn't nearly as bad as last year, but still was home for a few days. Over here is a card that Josh made me for Valentine's Day. He got me some mystery books, and I love foxes, so he drew me a little fox, and then these are just a collection of random photos of the two of us. I absolutely loved it, so I had to put it in here. These are Josh's and my name tags from an event, so obviously I have those covered up, but I liked that I got to put them in there. This is when I was planning out for the March TBR game that I did, which was Rachel from Let Me in the Library's D20 game. And then I just love this, April plans because I hate myself, given that I wrote this in February and I was already trying to figure out what books I wanted to read in April. My brain never stays in the present. I'm always looking 30 steps ahead. Next is my March spread, and this was a silver. I love that you can see the actual shine from this washi tape, and then my shimmery marker that I used. Another one that I did pretty awesome at completing my TBR, I had 8 planned and finished 11 books. Unfortunately for me, that silver pin did kind of bleed a little bit over here. Another awesome reading month. I did unfortunately have one day that I didn't read anything, but across the board, this is pretty awesome. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days that I went over my usual 200 page count. Brain dump, again, always thinking 30 steps ahead. If I had a V, that meant that this was a book I needed to read for a video. Favorite lines was a lot smaller this month, but I definitely still had some really good ones, like "You don't fall in love with a gender, you fall in love with an idiot" from Anxious People by Frederick Bachman. Once again, like I said, trying to make my stats portion look a little bit nicer. I voted in the primaries, so that's great. Definitely always encourage you to go out and vote. I also have this little tattoo from a sushi restaurant that Josh and I go to. Whenever you insert 15 plates on the conveyor belt, you end up getting a little prize, and I'm not really going to use this tattoo, but I thought it would be cute to include in here. This is a napkin holder from one of my favorite brunch restaurants. They always have really cute puns and lines like this. The "You are the avocado to my toast" is my favorite, however. Josh and I went to the Arboretum in March. That's always been a usual for us. It was tulip season, so of course there's lots of tulips, but I had to get a sticker to commemorate that day. Then I bought something. I don't remember what it was, but I really liked this little business card. And then one spread that I'm actually very proud of. This was my April spread. This quote actually came from my March favorite lines spread, so seeing it again, obviously did not do as hot in my April TBR. I had 2 books that I didn't finish. This one rolled over, but unfortunately I had to return this to the library. I did, however, read many books that weren't on my TBR. Another solid pages read graph, 2 days that topped my 200 page mark. You can also see a little doodle where I was preparing for my May spreads, and then you might get a little peek to a possible video that's upcoming. A completely filled favorite line spread. I'm not very surprised about this, given that I read The Starless Sea. So this is the first quote from The Starless Sea, and the last quote is this one. How crazy is that? My wrap-up page over here looks a hot mess. Please don't judge me. This one was just kind of an off day. Got another funky business card for the shop where I get my exfoliating soap. Also had this gorgeous business card where I purchased a shampoo bar. Unfortunately, it was not best for my hair, but I really liked the card. Can see a little bit of bleed through from that pink pen, which is why I stopped using it. Another tattoo from the sushi restaurant. Another napkin holder from the brunch place. And then this is just a little card that they gave us at a restaurant my mom and I went to. This was a card I got for Administrator's Day. I'm not going to open it because it has some private information in there, but just really enjoyed that, so included it in here. My most recent spreads, I really wish I'd gone back and put in a quote here, but I didn't. Obviously, did not do so hot on my TBR over here. Like I mentioned previously, this book had to go back to the library, and then unfortunately this was DNF'd. I've had about 1 DNF a month going so far, and I don't like this streak. This is not a good thing. In terms of the May the Force Read With You readathon, I unfortunately did not finish Plain Bad Heroines. This did roll over into June, and I'm trying to get it finished before I go on vacation. Obviously, you can tell what days were the Smut Den readathon because those are my highest page count. Unfortunately, I definitely had a few days with 0 reading. Right around here is where I actually fell into a fanfiction slump. I just ended up reading a lot of fanfiction instead of the 4 books I was bouncing between. All in all though, my page count for the month, not bad. Another slightly filled favorite line spread. I think my favorite one on here is "And Really All Awkward Means Is Showing Someone Else That You're Human" by Ronnie Lauren in Yes and I Love You. Given that that was my favorite book of the month, I guess that's not very surprising. Here we go, another nicer stats. This was my Smut Den possibilities list, and then my official wrap up for the 3-day readathon. Over here, we got another one of those little prizes from our favorite sushi restaurant. I actually have both of these, so I just decided to put in the little paper, and then I gave the badge itself to Josh. Okay, and then this is the few spreads I have for June. Basically, this is just me preparing for my vacation. So this is some things I need to do before we leave. This is the 3 books I'm going to be taking taking with me. Obviously, they are all Emily Henry. If you check out my June TBR, you'll see some other books I'm planning to read, but those are all ebooks and audio. This page is basically all of the places we're going to be going on the vacation, and I am so excited. We're starting in Athens, and then we are ending in Venice. This finally gave me the opportunity to utilize a bunch of stickers that I received which have a travel theme, but I've never used them before, so finally got the chance to do that. Obviously, on the opposite side, I have my flight information and my cruise information, as well as some travel requirements. Gotta love traveling in the time of Rona. Then I have the entirety of my schedule for while we are gone. I am so excited. It's probably really hard to even figure out what half of this means because I like kind of mixed things, and yeah, just don't try translating my thoughts. Here's my full packing list. Honestly, this is not completed at all. You can see I still need to go through and figure out how many of each thing I need to take. And then I have this little envelope where I'll probably put in like tickets, luggage tags, anything like that. Right now, I have some Polaroid film for my Polaroid, which I'm definitely going to be taking with me because the rest of this journal is going to be filled with entries from when we were on vacation. Maybe some postcards. Honestly, by the end of it, this is going to be a really chunky journal. It's already pretty chunky if I'm not squeezing it closed. So after my vacation spreads, you guys won't be seeing this journal again. However, I would like your guys' help in figuring out which journal I should use next. So first is another one that's very similar to the last, leather bound. It's pretty thin and it's simple lined pages. The cover says, "She led a life of endless possibilities." I could probably make the rest of the year fit into this one. Next up is one that's pretty similar in length. It is a hardback, however, and is also simply lined. It's just slightly wider, but it could probably also fit in my purse, which is nice. And then the front just says memories. After that is a chunky boy. This is actually the chunkiest. It says follow your own path on the front. It's also a hardback. It's got this gorgeous mapping style. If I did more travel journaling, I would definitely save this for that. Once again, this one is simply lined. It does have this pretty arrow at the beginning of every page, but that's about it. This one also has a ribbon bookmark, which I don't think either of the previous two have. Oh, I lied. This one actually has a ribbon bookmark as well. As much as I love this one, my one issue is it is so big, and I feel like I would end up going over the 6-month allotment to finish this one. I'd probably end up using this into next year, and I would really prefer not doing that. And then finally is this absolutely gorgeous handmade Star Wars journal that I have. I actually bought this at a Renaissance fair. It is stunning. However, fortunately, it doesn't have anything on the pages. It is completely blank, which is not great for me. I usually need a little bit of a guide, so I would probably be a lot more reliant on my ruler. However, it does have a ribbon bookmark as well, which is gorgeous. It's also so soft. This one is actually the tallest of all the journals I showed you, so unfortunately it probably would not fit into my purse. Okay guys, so these are the 4 journals I am thinking about picking up next. Please leave me a comment down below on which one you think I should go with, because I honestly don't know and I could really use the advice. Alright y'all, so that is it for today. Thank you so much for going to my channel. I really appreciate it. Make sure to hit like and subscribe down below. I have all my socials linked in the description if you're interested in keeping up with what I am reading. I come out with videos on Monday and Friday, but until then, I hope you continue to have a terrific day. Love you, bye!